Even for JoJo standards, this new chapter of the new Part 9 JoJo Lands is very weird, and it might be the strongest start we've had to a new part ever. And I am so excited to see where this goes. In this story, there's corruption, organized crime, and a whole lot of social commentary from Araki sensei, and mechanisms. Hello everyone, I'm Nick. Leave a like and I'll invite you to my birthday party, and there's a whole lot to talk about, so I'm just gonna get right into it. This chapter 1 seriously just takes you for a ride, and although I still have no idea where we're gonna go from here, this has done a great job of just kind of setting the stage for the new part. And there is a lot of narration here, even for JoJo's, but I really do like the feeling it gives right now, and I wonder if Araki is gonna keep up with like this level of narration throughout the part. But the narrator does seem to be the main JoJo talking about a story after the fact, and this JoJo is named Jodio Joestar, and his father is a mystery, so the Dio in his name might just be more than a coincidence. And we are told from the beginning of the story that this is about getting filthy rich in the subtropics. And then Jodio's older brother, who I'm pretty sure is transgender because Jodio calls him brother, so we're just gonna go with that. But his name is Dragona Joestar, and these two already feel like super close, and they already have some really cool, very JoJo-like bro moments, and I just genuinely love them. Just the silly little moments we have in here, them hanging out, are just really nice to see. So this new part to the story opens up in Hawaii, and we're being pulled over in our truck, and this lovely officer here says that we were swerving, and he takes Drag's license plate, and you can already see he's scratching at the steering wheel, and either that's just a weird JoJo trait or it's foreshadowing for something later. But our guys really don't know what they did wrong though, but they did say they were vibing out pretty hard to this Dua Lipa song, so maybe they were swerving a bit. That's wholesome JoBro moment number 1 right there. I'm not sure who Dua Lipa is, but I'm sure all the JoJo guys have already flooded the comments because I've seen it with like November Rain and every other stand that's mentioned in this. And then the officer comes back just to berate them some more with kind of unrelated things, like Jodio the passenger just asking how old he is. But somehow the officer is the one to bring up like racism and the color of their skin. I feel like Araki's got some sort of beef with Hawaii. Like they must have treated him like garbage or something. He's really just laying it all out on the table here. And then of course after the officer says that, Drag goes from being combative to pretty apologetic. But still, when the officer gets too close, Dragona says like, I don't want to get sick. Wow, I'm so surprised that they dropped a line like that. I'm just surprised this is the first reference to the virus that I've seen in manga or anything really. But like in general, this part of JoJo does just feel really modern, and I'm curious to see if there's any more modern like hot topics that they bring into the story. But normally I'm not a fan of like the social commentary stuff, but when it's in JoJo, it really just feels so natural even when it isn't. Well, officer gets dragged out of the car for a search, and then I mean he doesn't find anything he doesn't want to find, I guess. But so yeah, that don't stop him. So then to save his brother, out comes Jodio, and then the hype's just building up because you don't know what Jodio's gonna do him. So he steps out and then he drops the line, "That's my brother, hands off." And that only upsets the cops, so now they're both just pointing guns at him while Drag is being held up by this officer. And then one of the policemen grabs Jodio's shirt, and then some rain falls onto his hand, and it looks like the rain literally just melts this dude. It just puts a bunch of holes in him. This is a very unique and interesting ability for a JoJo. It doesn't tell you straight up what this stand does, and that's really cool. It's only adding to the mystery of it all. But I do like this stand. Like it drops the rain or snow and it just melts people like acid. Very scary stuff. And normally our main characters won't even have a stand by the start of the story, so this is just a really nice change of pace. And then the next few pages just kind of show the aftermath of the stand's ability. We just get a huge shot of Jodio's horrifying stand, November Rain. And I like that it's less humanoid than what we're used to, but looking at it now, I really think that it might evolve into something later. It kind of just gives off an incomplete vibe to me, you know what I mean? But still, I really like the way the stand looks, and the way it's just like above him, it just looks like it's standing perfectly over him, protecting him. And then Dragona, we saw him like scratching stuff, and it turns out that his ability is the Smooth Operators, and that's probably the coolest name we've had so far. His ability can just like change and alter things up to some extent, and it's not really explained just how much he can edit things, but we do see him change like the driver's license, and he just melts this cop's face off, like where his eyeballs are melting out of his face. Really hardcore stuff already. And this is just the first scene of the new JoJo, and it's already going crazy. Jodio goes over to the cop cars and he destroys the dash cams, and then he goes to the officers and destroys the body cams, just making sure that there's no evidence on them or anything. So he leaves the mangled cop cars and messed up corpses right here on the road, and Drag also just changes the license plate, and then we just drive away. So we already have a pretty good idea of what our main characters are about, and we got to see them show off their stands and just how smart that they really can be already. So they dip out to the next spot, and they're at some junkyard with a bunch of punks hanging out, and this scene doesn't last too long, but we do get a lot of good moments and just some more context to the story overall. We see guns and drugs and like money being shared around here, and this reminds me a bit of part 5 already, with like the crime and the gangs and stuff. So Jodio is a kid still in school, but he's just kind of out here doing whatever he wants. So he's obviously involved with like these gangsters and thieves, whatever they are, and just making money however they can. And after all, Jodio tells us in the beginning of the story that this is about getting incredibly rich. And not too much really happens here. It's just kind of setting the stage for us, showing Drag and Jodio aren't afraid to make a little bit of dirty money. And then the funniest part comes when these gangsters go over and ask our duo, hey, you know anything about the cop cars that are on fire on the side of the highway? Like, huh? Us? Oh, I don't know. And that's wholesome Jobro moment number 2. And then the next few pages serve to just further build up these characters. The mother of Drag and Jodio, Barbara and Joestar. We get a handful of panels just kind of showing her mom's routine. It's pretty simple, but at the same time, she's like very punctual. Assuming this is exactly how her mornings play out, it's pretty like Kira Yoshikage-like. But the reason we're seeing this is really just to drive home the point that their mom is just really well respected in the community. These people that could be either 6 years old or 60 years old, I don't fucking know. They'll walk her with an umbrella through the rain, or they'll walk her bags for her. She's like a local celebrity, like everybody knows her and everybody respects her, and her boys will do whatever they can to protect her. Like this lady just works at the airport and makes sure her laundry is done every morning. Like she seems like a pretty normal person, but I wonder if she's gonna have some sort of significance to the plot, kind of like how last part played out. And then next we cut over to the bus on our way to school, and here's where we learn a bit more about our main character. And this dude ain't afraid to get in a fight. Like he's built and he's got more muscle, at least than like our boy Gappy did. And Jodio is just getting pressed by some man in a latex suit. I thought this was school, but dude is cosplaying like Pink Guy or something. So you know this guy's gotta be important. This guy is trying to buy some drugs or something from our main character, and Jodio just like jumps on him because he doesn't want to deal with him, I guess. But he don't hold a grudge. Right after they get off the bus, Jodio says sorry, but he does like slyfully sell this guy something, and also this janitor ain't following dress code, so you know he's gonna be important. But he points that weirdo to the drugs. But I guess this guy and Jodio get along, or they're at least business partners to some extent. And I'm honestly really interested in Jodio's character and where Araki plans to go with this. Like Jodio ain't coming to school to learn. He says that he's here for the mechanisms of it, and his explanation for it comes in the form of a flashback, and I'll just quote him as best as I can and then just go on to extrapolate like whatever I can from it. He says mechanisms have power, but not a power you can see, and then he explained he was basically hired as a boy to deliver some product, and just by doing that and not asking questions or being too nosy, he just built up a level of trust with these guys from a young age. There's power in the mechanisms of trust. In this town, even the power of the law won't protect you. Your safety can be guaranteed by trust. And then it shows like your average schoolgoer, taller and probably smarter than Jodio, getting beat up and bullied by all those around him. And then it shows the duality, our delinquent Jodio, kind of just doing his own thing and like having the time of his life with his crowd, and because he's surrounded by people that he has built up like a genuine trust with. And then he says, there's an apex of the mechanisms. I can't see it yet, but the mechanisms will appear right in front of your very eyes in physical forms and shapes. Like such a JoJo's explanation. But what I'm really getting out of this is that Jodio is interested in understanding like how the world works. He says mechanisms are like a system, so I guess at that point you can kind of come to some sort of conclusion on your own. And Jodio is like an intelligent guy. He wants to learn, but he wants to like break things down kind of and figure out just how things work. Like if you wanted to do something nearly impossible, like Jodio would think of that concept and he would just think about it and break it down and just rationalize it as much as he can and just understand what steps he has to take to get his hands on something that is just so out of reach. Something like being 15 years old and becoming incredibly rich in the subtropics. I don't entirely get what he means by the mechanisms and physical forms, and it is a really interesting concept. And if you've come up with something based on what he said, let me know in the comments, because I'm still a bit confused. And then this final scene is where things get kind of interesting. We learn that the principal of the school is also out here chasing a bag like Jodio. It turns out that she is a huge shareholder in this Eco boutique, and on top of that, she's running like the secret crime organization. Dragona works here at Eco, and he's also a part of this crime ring, along with Jodio and this guy Paco, and also this guy from before too. And we do learn a bit more about Paco. He's 19, he's still in school, he got his ear like Mike Tysoned off by his father, and he just loves stealing, and he's got a stand ability that complements his hobbies really well. His stand is the hustler, and it lets him like suck things into his muscles, I guess. Jodio compares it to like when a mosquito is sucking your blood and you like flex it to where it can't get out. It's something like that. So we get like a scene of Paco showing it off. He's like stealing some man's wallet, and then Drag catches him and makes him bring it back. That was really funny. But I'm not sure if his stand stand can really be used in an actual fight, but I'd like to see what he's capable of. And so far, he does have my favorite character design besides Jodio, so I really hope he gets some time to shine. Even though I don't really think that these guys are going to be a part of the main squad, but if they are, that'd be fine. But for now, the boss is setting them on like some grand heist to steal a $6 million diamond. And a Japanese man just flew in here to Hawaii, and the boss has some connections to the airport and knows that this diamond just went through customs, and he's going to be here for 2 more weeks. He's probably alone, and we're going to go and take this from him. And the final lines that we're left with here is, we would go as a group of 4, but no matter how many people we had, it never would have been enough. So some shit is really going to go down here, and we get a final shot of these 3 stands and a to be continued, leaving us in a really interesting spot to pick up on next month. And seriously, I think this is one of the most eventful chapter 1s for a JoJo, and I really am already in love with the setting of Hawaii. It has like the chill small town vibe like Morio, and just the vibes of like being on the beach and living on an island where it's always sunny. I really hope that we get more time to just see a lot of the world, but I have no idea. We could go seriously anywhere from here. I'm gonna make some predictions that could age decently or just very poorly. Alright, so first off, I want to talk about Jodio Joestar. So last part, our main character had really close ties with the Yoshikage family, and I have a good feeling that Jodio seriously might be related to Dio or the Brando family somehow. The family tree is missing some entries, and it says Jodio got his last name from his mom, and his dad's side is still entirely a mystery. So who knows? That's like the #1 thing that I'm excited to see. And then second, I just want to take a look at his stand November Rain. So this stand is really different than what a main JoJo would normally get. The ability itself is really cool and nothing too out there for JoJo, but the stand itself, fuck. So next I want to take a look at November Rain. So next I want to take a look at November Rain. The stand is very different than what a main JoJo would normally get. Like, the ability itself is really cool and nothing out there for JoJo, and it already seems broken if we're being honest, but if you just look at its physical appearance, like, the stand is barely humanoid in shape. Like, it's got a head and a torso. I really do like the design of it, but looking at it now, I really think that it's going to evolve. I'm just excited to see if we can get another stand like as hype as Tusk. I loved seeing the Act 3 design, and if November Rain can turn into some massive, overwhelming stand with a presence like that, that would just go crazy. I really don't know how this ability could get any more cool or stronger than it is, but I'm ready for it. And I love the cliffhanger we get left off here. I'm really curious on how this heist is going to play out. It is JoJo, so I'm sure that it's going to get weird, and I assume it is going to be these jobs that like drives the story forward and takes us out on these bizarre adventures. Like, we were consistently like going on assignments and golden win and stuff, and if it plays out something like that, I'm going to be fine. I'm honestly really interested in this guy. We don't know his name yet, but this dude might or might not have a stand. We seriously just don't know yet. So he could have like a really cool stand, or he might not have a stand, but he could get one somehow. Because last part we learned about the walleyes and stuff, and I feel like that was really underexplored. And then like one of the first color pages, I thought that the edge of the island was kind of like the walleyes, so I thought that we were gonna get like a part 2 or something basically. So I thought they were gonna make their return. And also the boss herself, I feel like she might have a stand, you know. She's like a really powerful person, and she's like the leader of this organization of people that have stands, so I'm not sure how it's gonna work. So yeah, the last part we did learn about the walleyes, and it was really underexplored, so I feel like in general JoJolion will have some sort of connections to this part. Like, JoJolion was a really nice story, but a lot of things were just left underexplained and underdeveloped that I feel like could just get touched on in here. Alright, thanks for hanging out with me here. I'm sorry I haven't been able to post as frequent. Like, I wish I could post more, but my phone has just been broken and I can only control it with a PS4 controller at this point. I really am just focusing more on the video making process. I do want to make like just more entertaining videos, and I do just want to have a place to talk about the things I like. So thank you guys for listening. If you're an artist listening, you should hit me up because I want a profile picture. I'm still just using like an anime screenshot. I can give you a shout out, or I could give you some money or something. I don't know how I could do it, but we can work something out. Email me and I'll show you some love any way I can. And I have it set up so I can do these half-ass live streams, and I'll probably do more of them. Even if one person comes to watch, I'll do them as consistent as I can, just because they're pretty fun. Thank you guys so much for watching to the very end, and I seriously appreciate all the support. I'm gonna be huddled up in my room. You guys go out there and touch some grass for me, and have a great day. But the stand is stealth, fuck. So next I want to take a look at November Rain. The stand